Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Mech Merlin stream. See a couple of people joining in super easy. Early, I mean, not easy. Digital FXXX, Conrad Questions, and Jade Zen is the first time chatter. Thanks, guys, for joining in. We're doing another customer build. This one is an Ergo board by AVA Studios. I believe that's the name of their company. And the name of the board is the Sneakbox. It is an Alice-like board. We did have a special request for this build. Customer wanted me to min-max it, you know. So that's what I did. Spent some time min-maxing it over here. The min-max of choice is 3305, and I've also put on the stabilizers that are required. Yeah, this one was kind of difficult to do, because looking at the available layout, he's like, I just want the standard one. But since there were so many holes, I needed to actually put the stabilizer, the keys, and the top shell on just to figure out where like each of these guys went. Customer will be using the Tecsee ice candies. These have been lubed and filmed as well. I will have to say that I don't think the ice candies look as nice when you have a black film in them. I think I like them better if they're clear. There are two variants of the Tecsee ice candy. One is the clear stand, which is made out of nylon, and one is the UHM WPE one, which is, I believe it's white. It's white colored. But yeah, I'm also using Tecsee ice candies on my emery. So once I finish building this, I will compare them. And we also have a brass plate. You guys know how I feel about brass plates. They're not exactly the best in my opinion. I think they're a little too stiff for me. This is a very shiny brass plate too. I've already put a few fingerprints on, so for the duration of the stream I'll be putting on some gloves just to make sure I don't add any more fingerprints on it. Well, anyway, even if there were fingerprints on it, this only adds to the value, right? Everyone likes shiny plates, but when it comes time to actually typing on it, no, it might not be that great an experience. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens here, right? Don't bash it before you try it. Right, I think that's how the saying goes. Though from what I've been told, the customer says that they bought this primarily as a experimental board to see whether or not an ergo board would suit them. Yeah, got all the switches in. There we go. All the lights are on. Okay. It's got VIA. Most excellent. Okay. I want to change the layout really quick. It's not letting me change the layout. Whoever made this JSON will need to edit this, or maybe I can edit it. Let's go back to testing the matrix. There we go. Everything seems to work. That's good. But I'm actually surprised no one has made a particular comment quite yet. But I'll talk about it later. Here we go. There's the AVA Sneakbox. Shaggin' Wagon says new hat. Nope. It is in relation to the build. It is in relation to the build. I've omitted a few things. But I think people weren't able to see it because of how shiny the plate is. It's very hard to see. I'll say that. It's very hard to see. Is it the function key? Nope. Ah. I'll just tell you all. Oh, Miggy got it. Yep. I have purposely omitted the stabs on the enter and on the left shift just to experiment on my own. When it comes to ergo boards, I've found that just because of the way that they've been structured, you don't really need it for those keys. I was going to do the same for the space bars over here, but the thing about space bars is it really depends on where people hit it. You know, really depends on where people hit it, and especially on this guy right here, because you'll be using a 2.75 view. There is no way around that. You really have to use stabs on this. Pretty much out of the 4 ergo boards that I've tried, it's worked for me. It's absolutely worked for me. So I'm personally curious whether or not it will work on this board as well. I'll let the customer know. I'll be like, hey, do you want to try it this way? Or do you want me to put those stabs in? I was actually wondering why no one mentioned it, because I purposely showed the PCB off earlier. I was just like, hey, look at the PCB. And no one said anything, so I was like, The weights are really nice for the board. Yeah, I've seen the pictures for it. There it is. We can do this. Take it out again. Looks weird without the weight. Look at that. Pretty good, huh? So, let's see. Make sure you put it in the right way, folks. It only goes in one way. I know it's a triangle, but it only goes in one way. That. Merlin, any other hobbies besides keyboards? Well, I think it's tangentially related to what I do here. Like I am really into cameras. I like cameras. I also like guitars. You know? I guess guitars aren't so much tangentially related, but the cameras definitely are. If you guys caught my latest meetup video, you'll see that I was experimenting with a very old camera. I used an old camera to film the meetup. How much does the weight weigh? Honestly, I don't know. It didn't feel very heavy though. Probably one of the lightest weights I have ever held. Then again, I say that because I have an Emery 65. That thing's hella heavy. I guess we'll see that. Papa Fox is a first-time chatter. Thanks for joining in. Seems like a visual weight. Yeah, I think it's more of like an accent. There we go. So back then, there were actually boards where they would advertise, oh, choose your weight material, and one of them would be like aluminum. So aluminum on an aluminum board. It's not really a weight, it's an accent. All right. So the customer has chosen to use ePBT Wuyin Zhuyin. So that's what we'll be using. Oh god, this board sounds terrible. I don't like that brass plate, holy cow. Oh man. Alright, I'll turn on the sounds later and you guys can be the judge, but I personally don't like it. I personally don't like it. I don't like it. There. It's the rest of the key set right there. There we go. Got it. I take back what I said. It's actually not that bad. What do you guys think? The left shift looks really weird. Yeah, I feel like there's like not enough room on either side. I feel like I could have used something like that. But that's definitely 2.25U. So it's weird. I'm not sure how I feel about it quite yet, but we'll hold my thoughts for after I do a typing test. I'll just say that it's definitely not as bad as I was making it out to be, so I'm not accustomed to typing on Ergo, so we'll see how this turns out. Okay, let's turn off my music. Let's turn off Crisp. Let's see how this typing test goes. Yeah, the backspace does look a little bit weird. I feel like it's like catching against the side, so I may have to align the plate a bit. There we go. I really don't like it at all. I don't like it. It doesn't sound good to me. It doesn't feel good to me. Yeah, I can feel how stiff that plate is whenever I bottom out. I'm like a very heavy bottom outer. So on a brass plate like this, I can really feel it when I type, especially when even when I type softly. And in terms of the sound, it sounds cheap. I think that's how I would describe it. It sounds cheap. Like, I might put in plate foam as well, but given how stiff it feels already, I feel like putting in plate foam would just make it worse. Would it sound better with the $100 at the bottom? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the more money you throw at your board, the better it is, right? So I'm going to try probably go 20 to 30 WPM slower. I still hate it. I still hate the sound. Like, typing slower definitely made it feel softer or gave the impression that it wasn't as harsh. But the sound's still bad. I don't like it. See, first time chat from viewer ShadowKey65. Typing on an AVA now, and I honestly don't like it much. I've tried it with almost all the switches that I have. ShadowKeys, are you using a brass plate as well? Helicopter says, okay, it's worse when you type like that. You're using a PC plate and you still don't like it? What particular aspect of it do you not like? In my case, I think it sounds bad and it's also way too stiff. It sounds meh to you. Okay, okay. You know what I'm gonna do? It's because I'm very curious. I am going to put the case foam in it. Let's see if that improves anything. You guys can be the judge. So a couple people said, ooh, noises, kind of soulless, but I mean, sorry though, Merlin. Sucks you dislike it. Dog, just realized this is a 330 keyboard. Sound really bad for the price, unfortunately to say. That looks and sounds fire. Where does it sound bad? Over 400 with weight, PCB and shipping, it's okay. Spring greater than AVA. What are you smoking? Just built the AVA 10 minutes ago and it's alright. Sounds kind of thin. I'm gonna say that putting the case foam in actually helped the sound. I felt like that it toned down a lot of the brightness that like I was hearing from it. Earlier without the case foam, I felt like the pinginess of the brass plate was reverberating inside its empty cavity, so it made the high-pitched noises a lot more pronounced. Every time I typed, it just sounded terrible. This one sounds better. I still wouldn't say that I like it. It still sounds bad to me, but it's better than without the foam. I guess it went from bad to less bad. I'm hesitant to put the plate foam in. I think it would further reduce like the brightness, but at the same time it would introduce a lot more stiffness, which in my opinion is a bigger trade-off. See, Helicopter Fluffy says, but I like the sound of the bottom out. Luminous Peak says, it's not my sound, but I don't think it's awful. You like the sound of the bottom out? Use sound switches, so all these sounds aren't what I'm used to. Case foam does sound a bit better. If the customer likes it, then win-win. Yeah, pretty much. If the customer likes it, then the customer likes it. Yeah, I think I've got enough experience on this board to give a quick first take. As many of you know, this is probably like the third or the fourth ergo board that I've built. One thing I was super curious about was whether or not I could type on it, and yeah, so far so good. I was still averaging about 130 words per minute. I think the board looks great. Very beautiful board. It's QMK powered and VIA enabled as well, and when I plugged in the board, I did not need to enable settings and load up a custom JSON, but unfortunately the JSON file was made incorrectly. When you plug it in, you have no means of changing the layout at all. Like right now, I've got a 2U backspace right there. In VIA, that's only a split backspace. You can't change that, and you can't change any of these, even though there are like 4 different combinations of that. So just keep that in mind. Customer had me build it with a brass plate and with Tecsee ice candies and PBT keycaps. What this ended up being was a very clacky board. Something like this that's super high pitch is definitely not for me. I did remedy it a little bit by putting in some case foam. Generally, brass plates for me in general are way too stiff, so that's definitely clouded my initial review of the board. Don't like how it types, don't like how it feels, and sound is super questionable. By putting in that case foam helped improve it, but I would say that if I bought this board, if I were the one who bought this board in this current configuration, I'd be very disappointed and would probably want to sell it ASAP. See, Shadow Keys, another AVA owner says, I've listened to other sound tests, but I couldn't find one I really like. Ink Black V2 sounded good, but super muted. A couple other people who had the AVA said they liked it, so you know, just because I don't like it doesn't mean you won't like it, right? So give it a chance. Says for Karmi says preference, exactly. That is the key word in all this. Anyway, I think that's about it. Thanks guys for tuning in. As I said at the beginning of the stream, I will not be having a build stream on Saturday, which is why I'm doing the build stream tonight. So my next stream will be this coming Sunday, in which I cover all the upcoming and ending group buy news. So if that's the kind of info that you guys are interested in, definitely tune in Sunday evening, 7:30 p.m. PDT. Thanks everyone for joining in. I'll see you when I see you, and have a good rest of your week. Goodbye everyone.